Good evening.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, everyone. Quickly
Good
turn on
evening,
your
ma'am.
cameras.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good
Very
evening.
good
Evening, ma'am.
everyone.
Good evening.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening.
Ma'am.
Quickly turn on your cameras so we can
Good
begin the
evening.
session.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good
Okay,
evening.
one small request to everyone. Please rename yourself with your own name. And in the chat box, quickly write your name and where are you from and what are you currently doing. Okay, so in the chat box, quickly write it down. Giving 2 minutes of time to everyone to quickly type it in the chat box so that we can begin the session. Please rename yourself with your own name. If you have any difficulty renaming, I can do it for you. Just unmute and speak up. And I want everyone to be there with your cameras on. I can still see very few of you have given me your introductions in the chat box. Please, everyone, quickly write it down so we can begin the session. Oh, I I can still see very few introductions. Okay, Sonali, are you there? I think by mistake you are the host. Can you make me the host so that I can share my screen?
Yeah, hello, ma'am. I don't know how to do that.
You have the host rights. Probably you will have to click on the three buttons and then make me the host.
1 minute.
I'm unable to share my screen because of this.
Buttons.
You only have to do that.
Ma'am, you need to go to participants, check the ma'am name, click on it, select make host.
Thank you, Babita ma'am.
My pleasure, ma'am.
Yes.
Are you able to do it?
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Is it done?
Yes, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Okay, hope everyone has written and please turn on your cameras because otherwise you will not be able to get your whatever certification or whatever you've been promised for because they mark based on your camera presence. So please be there on the camera screen. Thank you. So my name is Sonali and I'm going to take up your session webinar for today. Today's topic, anyone is aware of? Have you heard about today's topic? What is it?
Emotionally safe and supportive classrooms.
So when we say emotionally safe and supportive classroom, why do you think emotionally are classrooms not safe these days?
Because we fail to understand students. Teachers generally they concentrate more on academics rather than the emotional aspects of students.
Even their stress level.
Stress levels are rising, lifestyle changes have happened, times are very different. So we have to move our ways of expression as an educator, as a counselor, also with the changing times. That becomes like a primary challenge, I think, with most of us because we tend to focus on the traditional learning only, what we have learned in our own times, wherein how things were, right? That is something if we apply same to these children these days, it becomes very difficult to cope up. Unfair to the children also because they are growing up in a different environment altogether. They have different challenges. What we compare from previous times, they were not there, right? The things were very different. I won't say it was simplified for us, neither it's simplified for them. It's a different scenario altogether. The struggles are very different. The maturity is very different. The ways of handling situation, the distractions, I would say, are very different. What we had in previous times, what we have now. Now they really need to have a self-control in order to control from the distractions around. Earlier, there wasn't much of exposure only. So then the distraction level also was accordingly, right? So a lot of changes have happened in the past few years. So which is why it makes a need for us to understand that it is important to create a emotionally safe environment into this classroom. So in today's topic, we are going to discuss about how we can create these emotionally safe classrooms if we believe that a lot of things were earlier more academic oriented, but now we have to broaden our perspective. So as per one of the research that I took it up, that students mental health and suicide in India, so as per the student suicide in 2023, 13,000 as per the data. So the statistical paint sobering picture rising in the academic pressure coupled with insufficient emotional system support has created a mental health emergency in Indian schools. Typically, students face intense competition, parental expectations, and limited outlets for expressing their struggles. So this is why a lot of experts say that emphasize that emotionally safe schools where students are felt heard, valued, supported are no longer optional, but they are considered to be essential for saving lives and nurturing well-rounded individuals. So as per another exam rates deaths. So 2000 students lost due to academic pressure and fear of failure. The rising trend increase in student stress level over the past 5 years that has certainly increased and creating lot of stress, 40% increase that has been seen over the last 5 to 6 years, particularly, especially I would say post COVID. There's so much of competition, especially with more internet digitalization, more, especially during the COVID time, I would say more and more competition. This person can do much better. Introduction of chat GPT, introduction of more things coming up, more competitions, higher the expectations, which ultimately is increasing more stress in the students. So it is very important for us to look at what is the foundation of safety, power of work, so core elements that create emotionally secure learning spaces, the power of words, how the language, tone, responses shape students' experiences, preventing fear based learning, recognizing and eliminating practices that trigger the student's anxiety, building trust, establishing consistency and predictability in your classroom, emotional regulation, practical strategies to help students manage their emotions. This is another thing that we could primarily focus on. So, if we look at it, building trust through consistency, predictable predictable routine. So, establish a clear cut daily structure so that the students know what to expect, because consistency reduces anxiety. So, whenever we discuss about children, every child at their own level struggles with little bit of transition, little bit of new things that are coming up. So if they know that this is something that we are going to do on an everyday basis, this is something that is a part of our routine, that definitely reduces their anxiety on a day-to-day level. It's not that we are not equipping them for the change in life, but then once a daily routine is being established, on a day-to-day basis, at least the child can have little bit of structure. Transparent expectations, clearly communicate behavioral and academic standards, make success criteria visible and accessible. Also, another thing that we could do is point out to small good things that the child does that can be incorporated in the classroom on a day-to-day basis. Whatever, like the class teachers could take up, or even the counselors could take up, maybe conduct 1 or 2 sessions per week and collectively follow through and try and appreciate on the things or the progress that the child is doing. So this is something that we could do. Follow through, do what you say you'll do, and reliably build credibility and trust over time. Consistent responses. React to similar situations similarly. Fairness means predictability, not treating everyone identically. This is another thing which a lot of students reported when we were discussing about it in the classrooms, when we were conducting a survey, where they felt that, it was, there was a lot of differentiation that was being done, right? Similar situation happened last week with a similar child, but the action was very different. So if we have standardized processes in place, that this is what is supposed to be followed and this is what you'll do, so this is the thing, this is the punishment. I won't say use the word punishment, but I would say this could be the repercussion. This would be something that you'll have to go through if something like this happens. So at least they are clear and there is transparency, so less of stress, less of anxiety, that definitely goes in. And these feelings of, I don't feel okay with someone, that unfair thing that's coming in, that will automatically reduce. Research, another thing, the school's climate impact on emotional health and academics. So educators who demonstrate empathy, patience, genuine interest in students' well-being create protective factors such as protective factors against stress and depression. Peer support networks. So it's also important for the teachers to help children develop that peer support network, where a collaborative learning environment where students feel connected to classmates, reduce isolation and building of resilience. This is something that we could incorporate, where we spend time during our circle times only, or our zero period, what we have, our class teacher period, wherein we could help them build some or the other student support network, where where children are, allowed to talk to each other with whatever issues that they are having, so that at peer level only, what a person of your age can teach you, maybe an adult can't teach you. So that's very important, what you learn from each other. So maybe we could divide in such a manner that everyone has some or the other peer support. If it will be mandatory, they will also, follow through that. Otherwise, of course, there is groupism, there are this is not my friend, this is my friend, these things always happen. But this could be a good solution to it. So sense of belonging. When students feel they matter and they are valued members of the school, community academic motivation soars. So extensive research across Indian schools demonstrate that positive school climate significantly reduces depression, anxiety, and behavioral issues amongst the adolescents. So students in the emotionally safe environments show improved attendance, higher test scores, and better problem solving abilities. The clear evidence is clear whole school approaches that prioritize emotional safety alongside academics create an optimal condition for learning and development. So this is another research of this program has been implemented. I'm sure a lot of you are here from the school background would be aware about this also. This Labhya Scalable SEL program. This is something that I've heard from the few teachers. They've only incorporated and helped me put in this data together, but I'm not too sure how much to that extent. Any one of you here who has helped in implementing this part of it? And is it actually being implemented? Those who are there from school setup? This is an
I have
initiative.
not heard of it.
Not yet.
No,
So
not
I
yet.
am presuming that this is reaching schools because some of the school teachers have only fed me with this. So this has been introduced by the government, I believe, in collaboration with some NGOs. That's what they're working on. They're targeting to reach to as many people as they can. So this is why I took this example uh, on what they are focusing on, that they can include this SEL program as a part of your curriculum. So daily well-being classes like structured 15 to 20-minute sessions integrated into the school day, creating consistent safe spaces and for emotional expression, mindfulness based practices, so age appropriate breathing exercises, body awareness activities, guided relaxation, helping students regulate emotions and reduce stress. Teaching students to identify, name, articulate their feelings, a crucial skill often missing in traditional Indian uh, education. Again, teacher training. This is like the most important thing because a lot of the teachers only were very clueless. How would we incorporate these? So proper modules have been made, and that's what I've been hearing from people that it's reaching more and more schools. So eventually, you guys will also be more equipped from your school setup. Comprehensive professional development, ensuring educators feel confident, facilitating this emotional learning and responding to students' needs. So already I remember some of the international schools have already have a part of SEL. They conduct a lot of workshops. It's already part of their course curriculum. But from the Indian government side, I think this is the you can note it down and read through with it. So this would be reaching your areas soon, probably. Okay, so this has been initiated to create a SEL. SEL, everyone knows, right? Social emotional learning. Okay, so this is what they are targeting to achieve by these things being incorporated in the training plan. Now, when we look at the social emotional learning, the foundation of emotional security, if we look at this picture very carefully, emotional regulation, then there is on the sides, there is self-awareness, there is self-management, and social awareness. What are the common things between these things? Is empathy, responsible decision making, and stress response. These are some things which are, I think, in today's world, part of every individual's life. And this is something which is required for better academic skills also. Reason being is if we learn that art of decision making, we learn that art, how do we respond to stressful situations? Because stress we can't avoid, right? It's somewhere or the other will be there. Every individual will. We can just reduce the chances. We can emotionally be more aware how to deal with those situations rather than blaming on the situation what is happening right now. We can't change the triggers, what triggers us, but we can definitely work on our responses, how we respond to those triggers. And that's exactly what SEL does to us. And this is why it is very important. If you want, you could make a note of this if it might help you in your sessions later on. This could be a good way to put it across. And this is why the emotional safety in the classrooms, that is very, very important, because struggle situations will be very different based on the different kinds of triggers. And now, as and when the technology advancement will happen, times will change, there will be many more things that will be introduced. So, but all we have to do is learn how we can be responsible for our own behaviors and how we can react to situations. Okay, so our main funda should be not to react but respond. If we are more mindful, more alert, we will be able to respond to situations rather than showing them an instant reaction, which might ruin a lot of things in future. And let me be honest, children are the best moldable human beings possible. Reason being is the more we teach them skills, they learn and adapt very well as compared to adults. Okay? They are on their learning phase. Adults still become very rigid. Oh no, this is how it should not be done. This is how. But when we equip children, they are able to implement things in a very quicker manner. Right? So once we train adults, this training is being done that can be imparted to children on how they can deal with the situations on a day-to-day basis. So some of the practical techniques educators could follow in: establish predictable routines, what we just did, but in a more concise manner. Start each day with same welcoming ritual, maybe something that you could introduce in your classroom. Use visual schedules for younger students. So children learn best when they are with pictures, when they are, so they know, okay, this is what we are going to do after this is what we are going to do. So for the younger ones, it's always a good idea to use as many visual pictures as you can. Maintain consistent transition procedures. So like, if you allow that, okay, from this place to this place we are going to transition, or this should be our main goal, so that should remain standard as a process that should be told to the children and should not change. Those transitions should not change. If the child has to go in a school bus, that should be consistent. It should not be like, okay, today this is how we are going, tomorrow this is how we're going. Children take time to adjust to that, and that makes them more anxious. What if I will reach late to school? My teacher will scold me, will not, I will not be able to enter to the class. Then again, that is a small stress that children have. So we should have in a classroom also, we should encourage children to follow through with the same patterns. Daily emotional check-ins. So dedicate 5 minutes for the students to share how they are feeling using emotional charts, colors, weather metaphors. This normalizes the emotional expression. We could incorporate even during our circle time only, just a 5 minute thing activity we could do. How do they feel? What, how they can, if they maybe write down a situation where you felt that, okay, I'm feeling very upset today, and it is okay to express. Don't let children hide their things like this, what they are feeling, because the more they keep it in, it becomes bottled up, and somehow it just they burst out in a bad manner. So it should be there that they should have some time where they can emotionally express to the best. So circle time for sharing and listening. Anonymous mood boards or feeling jars. This is also something that you could incorporate in your classroom setting. As a classroom, maybe the class teachers or let's say counselors could conduct sessions, whatever based on your school possibility. Try and work it out in that manner. One-on-one check-ins for struggling students. every class teacher or subject teachers would be kind of aware that, maybe it looks like these children are struggling. So make a list, and the counselors can do one-to-one check-ins to see if there are any challenges. Even the class teachers could do, but then counselors will be a better option if that there is a possibility. Affirm student identities, include the diverse cultural perspectives, languages, stories in curriculum, celebrate students' backgrounds, and create visual spaces where all identities are valued. So display students' work prominently, invite families to share their cultural traditions, use inclusive languages and examples so that they are able to be more adaptive to the situation. Now, as per the 2020 NEP policy, so translate the policy's vision for holistic development into concrete classroom practices. I think this already all of you are already practicing. Move beyond the rote learning to integrate the well-being, creativity, critical thinking into daily instruction. This, I think, lot of schools have already been, practicing in the last few years, which is to some extent has been implemented. Train teachers in SEL and emotional safety. This is still in process. A lot of training is going on. So provide comprehensive professional development in frameworks. Protect, support, encourage. Teachers need skills to recognize that distress, facilitate difficult conversations, and create psychologically safe classrooms. And that's what our goal is. And this initiative is totally based on that. Build bridges between school and home through parent workshops, community events, and regular communication. So, emotional safety requires a supportive ecosystem which is beyond the school walls. So, here it's very important to somehow connect to people, create these events so that there is much more awareness that this is something that is okay to feel that way. Okay? So creating more awareness that whatever you are feeling, whatever you are going through, it's okay to feel that way. So that creates some sort of emotional safety to the people whoever are experiencing. So to protect, there are anti-bullying policies, safe reporting systems, privacy protocols that are there, counseling access, peer mentoring, crisis responses plan. We should encourage positive reinforcement. Everyone understands what is reinforcement? What is reinforcement? Can anyone answer? What is reinforcement?
Creating positive environment in the classroom.
Okay, what else? How can we reinforce?
Assert their positive qualities, ask them to tell about what are the good things about the students.
Okay. So in
Reinforcement in forms of stars and some kind of activities for them. Yeah. Appraisals.
Appreciation badges also.
Rewarding the reward giving.
Simple words, it's a reward that we give. Yes.
Appreciation badges, ma'am.
Reward. So it is something that we give because the child has maybe done good in this particular thing. Okay? Or we pick up a thing and tend to do a positive reinforcement because we want that particular, let's say, a behavior to increase. For example, a child is sitting very quietly today, right now, in this current moment. But however, most of the times he's always fidgeting, moving around, getting up and running. We quickly find a moment, find him being seated and working. We do say, good job, you're sitting and finishing up your work, quickly finish it up so we can move to the next thing. Or maybe give him something that, okay, post this, we are going for a playtime or something like that. So this is actually positive reinforcement. We are trying to increase the positive behavior to happen and negatively reduce the negative behavior to happen. How? By not paying attention to the negative thing that the child is doing. If we continuously reinforce the negative behavior will increase. So this is what we have to practice in our classroom settings also. We should have a growth mindset culture. Celebrate effort because effort is also important. What usually happens is we often look at, oh, this who won in the game, but we don't look at the process. How many children enjoyed while playing that activity? We always look at who came first. It's good to create competitive spirit, but it's also good to enjoy that process that they are doing. Okay, so this is where celebrate effort. Small things that are there, we should celebrate that at least all of the children tried. No matter how much they performed, did not perform, it does not matter. At least all of us participated in it. Include diverse representation, accessible learning, that's also very important, and students' voice, whatever the students are feeling. So, like for example, there are classroom representatives, one child each representing what students are feeling, right? So, this is the success story of uh, what the government had conducted the study on baseline data. This was done, and how when they implemented the in schools, this is what the results were. So 40 hours of training and trauma informed teaching workshops for all the staff rooms. So this was of one school that they had implemented. So remarkable outcomes after 18 months of training. Absenteeism got reduced by 30%, let's say. Bullying decreased 65%, and academic improvement happened 15%, and teachers were satisfied. Staff reported stronger connections with student and with greater job fulfillment. So this was the result on implementing the SEL programs as per one of the ex school. I'm not naming it, but the next school that they had done a training on. So this is what is going to benefit when we incorporate the SEL training in our classroom. This is what they're aiming at.
Ma'am, is it implemented in a public school or a private school?
I have an idea about a lot of government schools. I think it is already being implemented, and in few international schools, this is already part of the curriculum. So probably it's reaching more public schools as well. So it's on the way. Okay, so you guys who should be, I think by in the coming year, should be trained with all the SEL training because it's still in process. That's what few schools I know they've already started implementing this in their curriculum. SEL training.
And these
Ma'am,
trainings are given by government or some organization private who gives this
So they have
trainings?
partnered with some NGOs. That's what I've heard. Okay, they've partnered
Okay.
with some NGOs, so they are providing and they are trying to implement this.
Okay.
Okay, so
Thank
with
you.
ma'am,
once,
can I ask you one question?
yes, please.
So you are mentioning that we have to ignore our negativity, right?
Not negativity, negative behavior.
Negative
Not
behavior,
reinforce negative behavior.
not reinforce. If we else suppose give priority to our negative behavior and
Will happen
positively,
again.
how
We will
why
give
why it will
attention.
happen
So
again?
that's what I was trying to say. If we are, like for example, I just gave you one example wherein a child engages
Mm-hmm.
in something that's inappropriate. Let's say the child is coming and hitting other students. Okay? We are saying don't do it. Instead, I find an opportunity where the child is sitting quietly. I appreciate that child. So in the number of chances where the child is hitting another child and I continuously say don't do it, he's getting my attention of don't do it. He will do more number of times because he knows that my sir is going to come to me and say don't do it. That means the whole class will get disrupted, his purpose will be solved. Again,
So
looking at
ma'am,
it from attention behavior perspective.
positive behavior, no, we are handling in a positive way.
So
We are
when we are
actually
handling in a
addressing negativity.
positive reinforcement, he's sitting quietly. doing his work. I am appreciating. Good job on sitting quietly and finishing your work. He will know that, I am being appreciated for when I'm sitting quietly. He will do more of that because he wants that attention from you.
So that means we are actually not ignoring our negative behavior. We are actually addressing negative behavior in a positive way.
So negative behavior with ignorance, I meant maintaining a neutrality.
Neutrality. Yes, that's right.
When we
Not
are
ignoring.
so ignorant, I mean you are maintaining neutrality, you're not poking then. Because if we poke then, that is like giving attention to the negative behavior. But when we are maintaining neutrality and appreciating the positive response, so that will definitely increase.
Right.
This is the funda of to reduce the negative behavior and increase positive behavior to happen. So child will know once I sit quietly and I do my work, I'm being appreciated. So I will do more of this instead of hitting the other child. That is not giving me any attention, neither from the child nor the teacher.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. So looking at empowering education, to educators to build emotionally safe schools. So it is essential these days. Now it's not an option anymore. So emotional safety is considered to be the foundation upon which all the meaningful learning occurs. Without it, academic achievement remains limited and students fulfill full potential stays unrealized. So small actions and lasting impact. So you don't need to be giving like any expensive programs or extensive resources. Consistently start these daily practices, what we've discussed. Listening to them is deeply validating their feelings, whatever they are feeling, that yes, it's okay to feel that way. That's something that as educators, as counselors, you can at least start doing it on day-to-day basis. What I've just given you some tips, you could start. And it's good idea to start tomorrow itself whenever you're going into the classroom. Implement one emotional check-in strategy in your classroom this week. This is something that you could easily do and learn together. Share these strategies with colleagues. So, as many people as you can, so that we, at least at our levels, can start building more awareness. Track these changes in students' engagement, relationship, and well being over time. And definitely educate the administrators, because you are counselors, you are educators. You can only let your administrators know that this is why we need emotional security into our classroom. Our classrooms are not emotionally safe yet, and can convince the parents and the policymakers also, because now the times have changed. We can't just look at ki kitne marks aaye, how the child is emotionally, what leads to that. Those emotional things also change your marks. Child would know everything, the child has studied everything, but if the child is not doing emotionally well, his performance will show a drastic decline. No matter what, if he does not know how I can handle my emotions, how I can deal with it on a day-to-day basis, how can I handle stress, I don't think studying anything will help. No matter how much good we are with our education system, but if we don't incorporate this, I don't think there is any way where we can get away and get better results if we are looking at it from school's perspective also. Of course, each school wants कि हाँ हमारा result अच्छा है. Result अच्छा तभी आएगा where children are emotionally mature. Okay, that is also something that matters. So few things why emotional safety matters now. For the higher encouragement and participation, improved academic performance, stronger student-teacher relationships, reduced behavioral issues. Automatically, you will start seeing the changes. So physical, psychological comfort, students feel physically safe, free from humiliation, punishment, judgment when they make their mistakes or ask questions. Also belonging and acceptance. Every student feels valued for who they are. Their identities, their backgrounds, perspectives are welcomed and celebrated in classroom community. So it should not be like there is any kind of bias that is being created or any kind of differentiation that is being done. So we should respect all sorts of things that should be incorporated. Permission to be human. Students can express their emotions, admit that they are struggling, and make mistakes without shame. So, we as teachers, we as educators can let them know that even adults can make mistakes and it's okay to make mistakes. And that's how we learn from those mistakes. Whatever mistakes that they are making is they're learning that that's happening. And it's okay to do that. So, first we have to accept that it's okay to do that because we tend to, be over children. No, 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 this is not how it's supposed to be done. We have to control our response, impulse responses as well. So, first of all, even before changing children, few things we also have to incorporate in ourselves. Learning is viewed as a process. And I think all of you, we have around 80 participants today. And I think all of you have joined this webinar because you feel that learning new is something that is part of it. So learning is a process. I am sure all of us are here with different age groups, but we have one thing in common, which is you all want to learn something. Right? So learning is a process. Even if it's a very younger child to the last, age of our life, we all learning from our experiences, learning from the things that we want to do. So learning is a process. But all of us are here, but we don't know who is going to perform the best in their own respective schools or in their own respective counseling units or in their own respective areas. ठीक है, so learning is important, not the performance 100%. ठीक है, first आके भी हम कुछ नहीं कर सकते. Even if we are coming first, I don't think we can do much about it as long as we are not learning from our mistakes. We'll again repeat those same mistakes. No matter how much importance it is to win, but also the process is very important. So if we as educators can understand from this perspective, we'll be able to help the younger generation with it. So words shape reality. The way teachers speak to students create either safety or fear. Every interaction is important to build trust and road to it. So tone of voice. We should have a warm, calm tone, which is a signal of safety to the students. Harsh and impatient tone definitely triggers the defensive responses in the children these days. Word choices. We should use growth oriented language. Not yet. Let's try again. Versus like wrong. This is wrong. You should know this by now. This should not be. This should be avoided to be used. Okay? So use good words so that children can feel more motivated. Let's grow together. Okay, let's do it together. Let's try again. These are certain things that makes children feel that yes, I still have a chance. I've not lost all battles yet. So response timing. Pausing before responding shows thoughtfulness. Rush reactions can feel dismissive or judgmental. So remember, few things that we can incorporate in our day-to-day lives as educators, as counselors. So preventing fear-based learning. Fear-based learning occurs when students are motivated primarily by avoiding negative consequences rather than genuine curiosity and growth. Recognize these signs. Students avoiding participation or risk-taking. Excessive perfectionism or anxiety about mistakes. Compliance without understanding or engagement. Students seeking right answers rather than exploring ideas. So some of the common fear triggers to avoid: public humiliation, calling out mistakes in front of peers. This is something that a lot of children feel that, we've been targeted on. Again, that makes them feel very low about themselves. I'll be honest, the more and more people we are meeting these days, the young children, they're having somewhere or the other very low self esteem. Even though they are very confident from outside, but from inside, they feel very low about themselves. So, unpredictable reactions or inconsistent expectations also triggers them a lot. Comparison to other students or their siblings that really makes them feel small, that what I am not able to do this. I'm not able to do better. Other children are doing much better than me. So this thing is there. We can certainly avoid comparisons. Every child is unique in their own ways. If one child is very good at this, the other child might not be good at this. So identify their strengths and work upon to build it further. That will be a good idea rather than comparison between students. In a big classroom that you all have, you will have diverse set of strengths. Focus on those. Not every child can be good at studying. They are very creative. Some are very good in studying, but they're not at all creative. So identify strength in each and every child and then push them to move beyond their limits. Sarcasm, shaming, harsh criticism, these are the things that we can just avoid. I know sometimes a lot of situations do come up wherein we don't intend to do it, but unconsciously a lot of educators tend to target, tend to sarcastically comment on the child. That should be completely avoided. These are some of the fear based triggers for children, what we have identified after speaking to many children. And this is what they feel that, we get triggered. No matter our teacher or our educator or our counselor or administrator never intended to target me, but I felt targeted there because of certain comments that were being made, which were wrong. So why to get into it? Right, let's be more conscious about what we are doing, what we are saying, what we are actually acting out in those situations. And I completely understand children do test limits these days. It's not as easy as it used to be, right? So we also have to be much more smarter. They are very smart than us, okay, but we have to be smarter because we are adults, right? So we have to be a little bit more smarter, but acting kiddish in front of them so that they know ki, okay, they might feel ki, we can target the adults and we can make, we are better than them. Let them think they are better than us. Okay, there is no competition, but we have to be, we are much more mature. We know what's right, what's wrong, right? But engaging in such harsh criticism, such words which might somewhere or the other have a very big impact on a child's life, that should definitely be avoided. We have to be mindful on what we are saying it out loud to the child because these things do impact. So when we do researches on, when we speak to children on one-to-one basis or in groups, this is something that they usually point out, that I am the one who's always being called out. So be more careful. Are you calling out the same child again and again? Are you favoring any one particular child? Try to create, even if you are calling one child again and again, try to maybe reason it out to children that why are you calling this child again? Speak to them in small groups, how we can make it better. See, communication is the key in any relationship, in any school, in any college, in any workplace that you work with. In every situation, communication is the key. As long as we are communicating and reasoning it out, a lot of things become much easier because children do find logic in why we are doing. They tend to question that, right? So if they are being told that, okay, this is the reason why we are doing this is why this system has been introduced, this is the with this time and to this time we are going to do a talking time, just create some space wherein they can feel that, okay, we have this emotional safe space. Do create in some corners which could be calm corners wherein they can actually, if they're having, if they are not able to regulate their anger, instead of taking it out on someone, they can just go sit there for a few minutes, regulate themselves, and come back again. Okay, there are a lot of schools who are already implementing calm corners in their classrooms. Okay, which we are creating like an emotional safety space that yes, if you feel very overwhelmed, you can always go there and feel better and come back. A lot of offices do already have this in place, right? So a lot of schools are also on their way to implement this into the classrooms. So this is something that you could also additionally implement apart from the things that I've just told you. Yes, Shubhika, you have a question?
Ma'am, Subhiksha.
Subhiksha, sorry.
Yeah. I have a basic question. Like, what is the thin line for the children who were there 10 years before and now? Maybe 10 or 15 years, and what is the major difference in between the emotional strength of the both the generation children?
I have already explained it. So earlier children had different kind of issues or struggles that they had. Okay? There was from the last, I would say 7-8 years, there has been more online, more exposure to things, more distractions, okay, more device access, okay, which makes it difficult for them to handle. Reason being is more connectedness to their peers, to the adults, much more exposure. That means more time waste in a lot of things which was not there earlier. Again, the good part about it is that they are learning so much, but there is also extra education that is being imparted because of the YouTube, because of the shows that they're watching, because of the people that they are able to talk to, right? So everything has their good and bad part. Earlier, there was not much exposure. So those emotional meltdowns were also very less. Okay, they had only just school. They used to come back home, do their classes, maybe speak to their friends over call. Not too much of screen exposure. Screen was there, but then again, parents were able to monitor. Also, nowadays, the both parents have started working also.
Yes.
Okay, so this also has been a major change that I've been noticing. A lot of cases are coming up where both parents are working. Less time is being able to devote, with of course financial constraints, many things happening. So these factors, that home environment that used to be before, has also started changing in. So this is also one of the potential major change that we've been noticing in the case. And also another reason that which usually children share, that we don't have anyone to talk to. There are so many friends that I have, but I still cannot share everything because there's a sense of judgment. What will my friend think? Now everything goes up on the social media. What will this person think? This is how I'm supposed to, this is my image that I'm supposed to create, which 10 years back was not there. I used to look at cases then, and I look at the cases now. The changes have been there, right? They
Yes,
never
ma'am.
used to say, oh, my image will go down. No, 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 no. This is not as per my standard. Now, having a counselor, having a psychologist on board on a one-to-one basis is a fashion. Earlier, it was not, right?
Yes, ma'am.
They want, oh, I have a therapist, I have a therapy session. It's more of fashion. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Again, there will be a lot of different social economic categories that are also there. With every category, I would say there are different kinds of struggles that they are facing.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so this is how the major change is.
Yes, ma'am. And also, being a shadow teacher for an ADHD child, sometimes I do negative reinforcement for that child. So, after listening to this session, just a small thought that, so am I like not creating that emotionally safe environment because of this negative reinforcement for that child?
So again, it is very case to case based.
Yeah.
In some, we have to draw boundaries also. Okay? We can't always just look at positives.
Yes.
But in those cases where how we are negatively reinforcing the child, that also matters. I would recommend make a board system, right? Remove those tokens. that, okay, this behavior was negative, I'm going to remove this token, or probably remove to the access of a preferred, like for example, iPad for 20 minutes. Now the time has reduced because of this behavior. It's just going to be accessible, let's say, for 10 minutes or 5 minutes. Right? These are some of the things that you could, small things that you could implement. Right?
Okay.
Instead of doing a big punishment, because that is something that, again, you're not creating a safe space for the child. And even if you are doing that, reason it out to the child why we are doing it. The child should understand the logic.
Okay.
Whatever is happening, that communication has to be clear. So once we communicate why is this happening, then a lot of times children don't presume, because children presume to a next level. And some children are very emotionally sensitive. So you have to understand what kind of child that you're working with. Okay,
Okay.
that's why I say make children more emotionally resilient. This is where resilience is important. This is where their confidence building is important, which I must say, with every child that we are meeting in, has somewhere or the other such low confidence. They are very confident on the outer when you speak to them. First session, you'll be like, oh wow, this person is so but when you speak to them on second, third session, where they have such a low self-esteem, you eventually figure out that all confidence was just for show off. It's a show off world,
Yes,
right?
ma'am.
They feel
Yeah.
so low about themselves. There's so much of competition. It's a struggle for children these days, I must say, right?
Yes,
And
ma'am.
we as educators, counselors, we have to understand from the other perspective also what the child is going through.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we have to be more aware and alert. That's the requirement. Nothing else. I think everyone will do good. Just that if we are more aware, then only we'll be able to. Because हम सोचते भी नहीं है कि this might hurt the child, right?
Yes,
Our
ma'am.
actions, this might have a repercussion. We don't even
Yeah.
think about it. But now that we are aware that, these things might hurt children, we'll be much more at a better place.
Yes,
Okay?
ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Beautifully explained.
Ansha, Priyadarshini.
Ma'am, just like you said, the last part, like, the children who looks more confident, but actually they have same
Hmm.
thing with my son, actually. He's very confident, but the small remark from his friend is very popular, actually, but then he gets upset. Like,
Hmm.
he will not tell immediately, but later when he's upset, then he will disclose all the details. Like, he teased me like this, or he commented, or, in front of all the children and all that. So
Hmm.
at that time I feel helpless, like how to make him, like you said, emotional resilience, like how to
Hmm.
make that
So
in the
how
head.
you can build up the confidence, work on the confidence building skills. Okay,
Okay.
how you are enough. Okay, you should not be dependent on others' approval.
Yes.
Okay, so these are certain things that we have to train our children. How they can be not affected by what others think.
That's-
Okay, they should have their own opinion, their own routine. That should not change. Their own studies, their own academics. That should be their focus. ठीक है?
yes.
Also limit the distraction, especially during the study time and all of that, so that does not get impacted.
Okay.
ठीक है?
Okay. And but then not about my son alone, but then everywhere there are children like this. I mean, they are afraid because the peers, they will comment or they will tease.
Hmm.
So collectively, how we can do that in the school? I mean, how we can
So
motivate
make
children to.
make children much more aware that those negative remarks that are coming in, okay, they are not just targeted for you. People will come, people will say
Yes.
whatever they want, because you can't stop children from doing these things. Of
Yes.
course, at individual level, people can make them aware that this is not a right thing to be done and all of that. But then we can't change others. But all we can do is we can work on ourselves so that we don't get affected by whatever is happening. The
Yes.
environment will be tough. In more coming times, it will be much more difficult. Yeah, with
Yes.
the technology, we never thought that children would be aware. Nowadays, a fifth grader is very well aware what a 10th or an 11th grader was in a lot of things. Okay, so now if we look at it, there will be much more. They are on that exploratory ways, right?
Yes.
They will tease, they will do whatever they want. Okay, they're learning from the television, they're learning from the YouTube, they're learning from their environment, and that maturity is also there to what it was 5-7 years back. From a 10th 11th grader, it is there now in a 5th 6th grader, right? And maximum amount of teasing and all of that happens in the middle school period, right?
Yes.
So that happens, and a lot of children do get bullied. Now, how do we handle that bullying? That's something that we have to train. So counselors can do conducting sessions on a regular basis, how children can deal with it on a day-to-day basis, how to not stay affected. Okay, this is something that's the need of the hour, which you guys only will have to reach out to your school administrators that I would want to conduct this training. This is the need of the hour. Again, this is what we should do. Okay? Okay, thank you so much, everyone. I'll have to end it now because I have a next session to take. Please look at the chat box for the procedure for your certificate. Okay, thank you so much, everyone. Bye bye. Take care. Good night. It was
Thank you,
lovely
ma'am.
having all of you here.
Ma'am,
Okay, take care.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, bye bye.
Good night, ma'am. Bye.
Good night.
Good night.